Hey gang, AV here. Welcome to my review of the Hiya Toys Aliens Colonial Marines Power Loader Exquisite Mini. Here is the box. I've already removed it from the box. As you can see, it's just a clear window here. You can see there's a clear clamshell which would have held the figure, or power loader I should say. In the back there, it's just the United States Colonial Marines, Colonial Marine Corps logo in the back. With some space detail down there in the bottom. Picture of the exquisite mini right there. Some alien artwork all throughout. Chords of aliens on the sides here. It just says Colonial Marines Exquisite Mini there. Same with that side. Same with the bottom. Same with the top, although the window does continue so you can get a top-down view. And then on the back, it shows you the power loader in a couple different, from a couple different angles. Some legal stuff there at the bottom, and that's about it for the packaging. Let's have a look at the power loader itself, which is right there. Before we have a closer look at it, I am actually, let me make sure it's in frame here. Excuse me. I'm actually going to have a look at the display base it comes with. Now, the power loader itself does not have any foot pegs. This does. This has 4 foot pegs on the base itself, and they are 4 individual figure bases that they connected using those H-shaped clips I always talk about in the Hiya Toys reviews. So they actually put it into practice for this figure. They actually made a floor using 4 different display bases, which is awesome. He does come with this, and of course you can attach this to other figure stands that come with the other alien figures that you may get. And that was its only accessory, basically, that and the cage that holds the figure in. But let's just have a look at this before I take the figure out. We'll have a look at some of the detail. As you can see, the figure is holding on to the handles on the arms. The power loader's knees are right where the figure's knees are, which enables for that. Loads of nice weathering detail all throughout. Molded numbers here, painted numbers. Hoses all over the place. They did an excellent job from there. I mean, Hiya Toys always does an excellent job, but this looks fantastic. Here's a company logo here. This is badass. Badass. Alright, so before I take the figure out, we're going to do size comparisons first. So we're going to go in a little bit backwards order here. So here is the power loader next to a vintage G.I. Joe figure. That's, of course, a Boss Fight Studio blank piloting it. Make sure we're all in frame here. Okay, here it is next to a vintage collection Star Wars figure. A 4-inch G.I. Joe figure. A Marvel Universe Captain America figure. And a Halo, World of Halo Master Chief figure. So you can see it is to scale for 1/18. And it does accommodate 1/18 scale modern figures. I do say modern because you are going to need modern articulation in order to get the figure to properly pose inside this thing. To hold the figure in there, basically all you have to do is put him in the pilot seat. This cage just pegs in. In the movie, I believe it hinged up. It just pegs in on this. And get his hands around the handles, and then you're good to go. Now I will actually unplug his hands just to get the figure out a little easier, because this is a Hiya Toys product. Hiya Toys can be a little fragile sometimes, so you don't want to apply too much pressure to anything. I had to extensively heat this thing up at all the joints before trying to pose it. It was frozen, especially at the shoulders and the hips. I had to use a hairdryer, heat it up and then apply even pressure in order to get the hinges to work. But you'll see that it was well worth the effort. So let's plug this back in. This was slightly warped when I got it out of the package too, but a little heat got it right back where it needed to be. Might still be a little warped actually. But still, it'll peg in, no problem. I just had it in there. Come on now. The camera's on, so of course it's not gonna work properly. All right, there you go. All right, so now with the figure out, let's have a closer look at some of the molded detail. Again, very, very impressed with this thing. It's got the light on the top here, 2 antenna. The knee pistons work, which is very, very cool. Some of the other pistons are mostly there for show, but the knee ones do function, which is cool. This particular hose on mine just comes unplugged, but it plugs right back in. I think when I was using the hair dryer, I just heated it up a little bit too much. Loosened up that wire, but that's okay. So anyway, so articulation wise, I'm gonna try to do this on camera as best I can. His arms will go, I keep saying its arms will go up and down. We'll do a full 360, but as you can see, the wires came unplugged when I did that. I'm gonna have to plug them back in a second. It also pivots in and out a little bit. It's got a slight butterfly joint, if you can tell. Also has hinge here, so it allows you to do that. Good range of motion there. The handles do a full 360, and they slide a little bit forward and back so that your figure can actually grasp it. Elbows will bend almost 90 degrees. The wrists go all the way out like that, all the way in like that. Rotates 360 degrees here. The fingers, I guess you'd say, do slide in and out, as you saw. It's a little stiff on mine, so you gotta be careful, but they do clamp down too. Legs do go still a little stiff. Back about that far. Forward about that far. Again, you gotta watch some of the hoses. Knees bend about like that. And the ankles do pivot. You can pivot more to the extreme, but it will get caught up on the mold, so you gotta kind of bend it back a little bit. It takes a little elbow grease, but you can do it. All in all, this is outstanding. I'm blown away by this. When I saw pictures of it, I knew it was going to be cool, but they really knocked it out of the park with this. I mean, it looks like it jumped right off the screen. Let me plug this back in. I may have to do this off camera. Let me see. Alright, so this one I might need a little bit of glue for. It's not the end of the world, but apparently this was glued in, so it doesn't just peg in like the other hose that I knocked loose earlier. So do be careful with the elbow hoses. Definitely don't want to go too far with the elbows for fear of knocking these things loose. Alright, so I will fix that when I finish the review. But all in all, I am very impressed with this thing. I think the weathering detail, the articulation, the fact that it is compatible with 1/18 scale figures. I do not have a Colonial Marines figure, believe it or not. I have some of the aliens. I now have Power Loader, but I don't actually have any of the Marines from Hiya Toys. I'm sure they would fit perfectly well in here. I mean, if a Boss Fight Studio figure, another company's figure fits in there, I'm sure the Hiya Toys figures would as well. Excellent articulation on this thing, beautiful paint. Again, as a Hiya Toys product, you are going to want to use your hair dryer and heat it up very well. If anything feels stiff, do not force it. You will break that joint if you don't heat it up beforehand. I have unfortunately experienced that in the past with other items from them. But all in all, I do highly recommend this thing. I think he's awesome. I think it's just, it looks fantastic. Really, really cool. It's going to look excellent in your industrial display, an aliens display, as like a background piece in the loading dock of one of your displays, maybe on the lower decks of your flag or whatever. Awesome piece. I got this on Big Bad Toy Store. It was on sale, I think, for $30, which is a great price for this. All in all, I do highly recommend it. Again, be careful with the hose that connects to the elbows. Apparently, mine needs to be glued back in, but that's not the end of the world. Just a dab of glue and that'll take care of that, no problem. Again, the cage was a little warped when I got it out of the package, so I had to heat that up to get it to peg back in properly. I had to heat up the shoulders. I can't stress that enough. The shoulders and the hips had to be heated up on mine in order to get them to function. Do not force any of the joints or it will break. But awesome piece. This has been AV. If you like this this review, check out my channel. I review G.I. Joe, Halo, Alien, Marvel, DC, Boss Fight Studio, anything 1/18 scale that I can get my hands on, you can find on my channel. If you like this video, check out my channel, see what else is there. If you like what you see, then please subscribe, click that notification bell, and as always, take care.